Yep, I see the live
Setting
on
it
the
up.
screen.
Now it says setting up your meeting for Facebook Live. There we are. We are live. So, David Randolph, how are you today?
I'm pretty good.
Excellent. So I've told a few people about what we're doing here today, and most of them are going to see it as it pops up on their Facebook. But I sent out some messages. But I wanted to just tell people a little bit about how we met initially before we jump into the meat of the call. You and I are both real estate investors, and we both love helping other people to succeed and to make money and to learn how to do this. And we met actually on a networking call that was being held by one of the great IRA retirement account custodians, Advanta, and they help investors put their money into deals. They can't, they can't advise people on their investments, but they can dot the I's, cross the T's, and they check all the rules that the IRS puts down there to keep investors safe. And that's where I met you. I don't know if you recall that, David, but you had quite a bit to say about short sales.
Yes, well, you were on there about your expertise in notes. So everybody on the call has got some area that they're really good at.
Right, right. And the more I've gotten to know you and I've looked at your website, and I'm just really impressed with how many things, how many irons you have in the fire. I mean, you started off in short sales. You have an educational program for short sales. You're a speaker. You're a private lender. You are also a husband and father. How do you do all that?
Well, I have a very good wife,
Of
first
course.
of all, who tolerates me. I have a lot of written checklists and procedures that I follow, so I don't reinvent the wheel every time. I improve it and document it. So I use a lot of business type, processes to run this, as a business, and that really helps to get a lot of stuff in and do and accomplish a lot of things.
Great, great. Well, your website is very easy to remember. It's the David Randolph, and that's with a PH at the end. I noticed that when you sell houses, you sell them very, very quickly. I was looking through your properties page, and it said you had completely renovated, updated. It will not last long. That was the only property left. The other ones had already sold. One sold in 6 days for a 5K over list. Another in 7 days. Another one sold that was $10,000 over list. That one sold in 1 day. So how does that happen? How do you, what fuels the fire that allows you to sell these properties so quickly?
Well, I make them drop dead gorgeous. So what happens is I rehab about 5 to 10 houses a year. And actually, Gary, all my houses listed under 265,000 have sold in 7 days or less and
Wow,
have sold over list price for the past 10 years.
that's amazing.
Yeah. So you have to have a process and business systems and tools in place to produce something that people want. And so that's really what you want to do is you follow a business plan and you do it every time.
That's great. That's great. Now, you have a passion for helping other investors. How did you line up with that? How did you land on that?
Well, I found early on in real estate that this is actually all about relationships. Okay, building relationships with the seller, your contractors, homeowners, real estate agents. And so basically, you're out there trying to help somebody else achieve something. And so, for me, there are a lot of people out there that needed something from me and I needed something from them. So you give them something, they give you something back.
Now, you started off in short sales, and you're really a master at that. And most of my audience wants to do passive investing. They want passive cash flow. So how did you go from flipping to becoming a private lender? And what's a little bit behind that story?
Well, I mean, I said I rehab 5 to 10 houses a year. The way I buy them, as a real estate investor is through the method of short sales. And so in that
And
process,
tell the audience very quickly what a short sale is.
well, a short sale is where the homeowner owes so much money on the house, he can't sell it because it's not worth the loan. So he
Mm,
can't put it on the MLS because no one would pay that price for it. So he's
right.
underwater. So that's the quick definition of a short sale. But the where I had the lending and the funds to do that is because I make $50 to $150,000 profit on each house doing short
Wow.
sales. So that's what made me a private lender. I made almost $3 million in my IRA. I don't know if it's okay to say that on a live recording, but I just kind of believe that I'm a steward of the resources God has given me. But
Right.
that's the leftover money that my wife didn't spend in my IRA, and so that made me a private lender at that point.
Well, as long as you're following all the rules, you can say however much money you want. The IRS isn't going to come after you, so that's
Okay.
great. Now, one of the things that we talk about in investing, or that I see, is that there are a lot of people who want to get started in real estate, and for one reason or another, either they don't have the time, they don't have the skills, they don't have the nerve to deal with tenants, toilets, and termites, and yet they still want to make passive income. And a lot of these people, if you have $100,000 to put into a deal, it's easy. You find a lot of people who want to
Right.
talk to you. But if you only have five or $6,000, $10,000 to invest, sometimes it's a little bit harder. Have you found that that's an issue in your space, and have you figured out a way to accommodate that?
Well, yeah, no, a lot of people are in that situation. You're going to, by definition, start off with a small IRA. So one of the things that we do with my one-on-one coaching students, the first thing that we get set up with my students is where they basically are able to take a $5,000 IRA and wrap it. Okay, and so it's a wrap loan, and so that's a way to take a $5,000 of your IRA, and then you kind of combine it with say $100,000 from another private lender, somebody that's got the money. You pair up with them, and you're able to go and give a loan to a rehabber, say at 5 points and 15%. And so that rehabber is very willing to pay you that for $100,000, but you don't have that, right? You have 5,000. So you put the deal together with a I don't say partner, but with another person who has 95,000 in his IRA, or it doesn't have to be in an IRA. And then you wrap your loan to the rehabber on top of that $95,000 from him. You get all the interest, and you're paying your private lender, let's say 5%, 7%, flat interest rate that he's very happy to get. That's a 5 sentence explanation of it, but it's called a wrap loan.
Right. And so you end up getting the money comes back to your IRA. And so you're now, it can be dicey when you're using an IRA that you don't do the wrong thing and you don't start bringing money in on something that's really a business venture. So it has to be a passive investment, and it can't involve money that you borrowed, because then that's what's called UBIT, right?
Right. Well, the nice thing about IRAs and UBIT and the IRS with that is that lending is not UBIT. Okay, it's
Got it.
possible that owning a McDonald's is, of course. Even some say rehabbing too many houses will cause the UBIT, but
Hmm.
lending is universally declared by the IRS to be not under UBIT. So it's a perfect way to stay safe by doing wrap loans.
Because a UBIT is unrelated business income. And but another thing is you can't take a personal loan. You can't have a recourse loan in your IRA, because that says you're guaranteeing the loan. So you just have to be careful. And there are a few things that you need to follow. But it sounds like a great way for someone with a small balance in the IRA to ramp it up pretty quickly.
Right, and see in this case, you're worried about the UBIT. Well, you're lending out. You're not borrowing. It's UBIT happens to you if you're going to borrow money on a house
Right.
and it's not recourse. So see, you're the bank. Remember, so you're the bank doing the lending. So you're completely safe.
So that's pretty nice to be the bank. Tell us some of the benefits about being the bank in a real estate transaction as opposed to renting a property.
Well, I mean, you've got a situation where you all you have to do is qualify the project. Make sure that the person you're lending to is competent, go through a due diligence with them, make sure that the property, meets certain criteria. And then you're just going to, give them money and they're going to do all the work and then they're going to pay you back interest on it.
Right.
So it's great. There's no toilets, no tenants, no termites, none of that. You just let your money do it. You're sleeping at night and your money's working for you.
That sounds great. That sounds great. Now, what do you have to put, like on a typical $5,000 investment? What could the yield be on something like that?
Well, we're talking about astronomical terms because what happens is if you take, let's say, as an example, and this is only an example, $100,000 loan that you're going to have a rehabber that's not related to you, because you're right, there is prohibited transactions. All
Right.
those rules apply. You can't loan to your mother or to your son, but you can loan to a third party. You loan them that $100,000 at 5 points and 15%. And so over a 6-month loan, that's $12,000 in interest, okay, for just 6 months. And so when they pay you back, you use $5,000 and 12,000 came back to you. Okay,
Wow.
that's like double, triple. Now, don't forget though, you've got to pay that private lender who had the 95,000. You have to
Right.
pay him 5%. So that's $2,500. So you basically get 12,000 minus 2,000, $10,000 for your $5,000 small IRA. You triple your money.
Now, you're not giving anybody who's watching this video either legal advice or investing advice. Is that right, David?
Oh, that's absolutely correct. I'm not an attorney. I am not a realtor. I'm not a doctor. And I don't play any of those on television either.
Right.
I'm just an entrepreneur, a real estate entrepreneur. And we're just kind of doing this for educational purposes anyway.
Great, great. So for investors who are piling up some money, private lending is a great way for them to earn extra money without having to flip more houses and tie up a bunch of their time and their assets. That sounds like what you're saying.
Yes, absolutely. With these wrap loans, and if somebody wants to contact me, there's a lot more to it. There's paperwork that has to be correct. You have to do the paperwork right. But, just the concept of wrap loan, taking a small IRA, and then having somebody else who has a large quantity of money call me. I've got 3 million in my IRA. And
That's
so
awesome.
if you have the say $5,000, I can wrap that with some of my, you can wrap me, and I'll be the private lender with the other $95,000 with it.
So that's one of the reasons that I love what your business model is, because it lines up with what I do with mortgage notes. And that is where you buy a note at a discount, but you don't need a large amount of money. Again, I love the fact that both of us can offer to investors the ability to invest a small amount of money and then get large yields. So that's great, David. Anything else that there was one other question, and I just wanted, I guess the best way for our viewers to get a hold of you is at your website.
Yeah, I think so. TheDavidRandolph.com. And I took that website out because somebody already had David Randolph.
Right.
So they said, but aren't you the David? It's like, yeah, I'm the David. So TheDavidRandolph.com. And there's ways for you to just send me your email or phone number, give me a call, and I'd be glad to talk to any of your viewers, about my experience with IRAs. And certainly, of course, short sales too. That's my expertise. I've been doing that for 11 years. Nobody told me to quit doing it. So now I make a lot of money at
Well,
it.
you know what? Let me ask you a question about short sales. Aren't those pretty few and far between? I mean, don't you have to wait until somebody's house is ready to go into foreclosure before it becomes a short sale?
No, no, no. See, everybody understand. See, look, a short sale is defined as this. Okay, the easy definition. A short sale is when the homeowner misses one house payment. That's all these people in America that are in the Forbearance Act right now.
That's right.
You don't want a foreclosure date. Then you've got to bust your butt, okay, to stop it, to do the short sale. We're so busy, we can't even keep up with it with my students right now
Right.
because, like I said, all you do is miss one payment. You don't want to have a foreclosure date. That makes it harder.
Right. Well, that was a softball pitch for you there, David. I knew the answer
You got me
there.
all riled up.
Yeah. Great. Great. Well, listen, David, it's been awesome talking to you. Let's do another one down the road. Maybe maybe we'll do a little bit more about your short sale course. But again, it's Professor Cashflow. That's my claim to fame. And I'm focused today on passive income. So folks, if you want to be able to find out how to take $5,000 and generate a nice stream of income, give me a call, Gary Payroll, Professor Cashflow, or you can reach me on my website, which is passivemonthlyprofits.com. Passivemonthlyprofits.com. Thanks so much, and it's been great talking to y'all. And have an awesome day. Bye bye, and bye, David.
Bye.